on a dream, aren't we all?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. There you go. That sounds better. Well, I'll tell you what is a dream here. ESPN Northwest Florida presents Wrestling Against Cancer 8. John, any truth to the rumor that you're going to be out there in a lucha mask?
That's right. And my Speedo.
Oh, good Lord. Well, professional wrestling returns to Bay County Saturday, April 29th at the Bay Haven Charter Academy in Panama City over there on Hawks Landing. American Machine will be there. Chief Little Bear will be there. Mr. 850 will be there. And exciting women's wrestling with Savannah Thorne and T. Gaines. It is going to be something else. Doors open 5:30. Bell time is at 6:30. Tickets $12 at the door. Ages 6 to 15 are just $8. And 5 and unders get in free so they can roam all over, maybe hop in the ring. Good Lord
right.
At that thought. But scores will be settled April 29th.
Coming
at
up.
Wrestling Against Cancer 8. For more info on this event, it is going to be a fun event. Go to espnpc.com or search Facebook for Wrestling Against Cancer 8. All proceeds will benefit Donna Duncan. So that's going to be a great one. Well, we've got the man here himself. I got to talk about this a little bit Monday afternoon with David, but I've been waiting for this. Ryan, it's the greatest tournament in golf.
Oh,
it really
100%.
is. And we had another Masters, and it was interesting. I mean, we talked about 4 seasons in a day, and we had 4 seasons at the Masters, but obviously every Masters has its own storylines. What were your takeaways from the tournament this year?
I think my biggest takeaway is all these guys are so talented regardless on what tour they're playing on. And I really did there was a couple shots a little bit during the coverage, but I thought the Masters did a good job of really putting the LIV PGA Tour thing on the back burner.
100% agree.
Everybody got their time. They didn't do anything crazy, which was good, which you've seen in a few other things that they've been a little bit more demonstrative about it. But talk about, I think obviously the weather was one of the biggest storylines. I did a podcast with a few guys last week leading up to the Masters, and we were talking specifically about Rory. Rory's trying to get that career Grand Slam, win all 4 majors, but there's just something about Augusta that Rory just does not agree with.
Yeah.
He did not play well, and he didn't play well when the weather was good. And that was the problem, is you really had to get off to a lot. If you know the weather's going to be good all 4 days, you don't have to get out to a ridiculously fast start at Augusta. But when you know that the weather's coming in like it is, you've got to push a little bit in that first and second round. And the guys that did, obviously, were still there on Sunday. I personally think if Saturday wasn't as bad as it was, and the guys didn't have to come out early Sunday morning and finish that 3rd round when it was 45 degrees, I think if that doesn't happen, I think you got a lot closer match down the stretch with Koepka and Rahm. Rahm's won, now it's his 4th tournament this season already. He's been playing some fantastic golf, so he's been primed. Obviously, Brooks plays on the LIV Tour, but he's came through those 2 big knee surgeries, and obviously when he won those 4 majors in, I think it was 2 years, he was playing obviously the best golf out there, and he's still got it in him. He just lost that driver a little bit on Sunday. He finished up the 3rd round fine, but again, I think if it's a normal tournament, you probably got a lot closer match down the stretch.
Rahm, 4th Spanish golfer to win the Masters.
Yep. First to win 2 major championships, or I don't know if the first to win 2 majors.
No, Seve won the British, but
since Seve, probably.
Since Seve, yeah.
Sergio only
probably first to win the U.S. Open and that. But
that's what it is.
There you go. Yeah. But obviously, Rahm, a little bit different style player, but there are cultural things about golf that like Seve growing up hitting all the balls on the beach, why he was so creative and good out of the sand, different things like that. Is there something to kind of the way that Spanish golfers develop? Rahm, obviously a little differently, came and played collegiate golf over here at Arizona State, but is there something to that? Because honestly, it's about the only 4 Spanish golfers I know. I mean, I know maybe 2 or 3 others, but all 4 of them have won the Masters.
Successful, yeah.
Interesting.
It's an interesting thing for sure. I mean, I think Seve is the one that kind of transcended golf for Spanish people and got that going. Obviously Sergio had a great career, finally won a major late in his career at the Masters. I think that there's something about the lore of Seve Ballesteros that kind of bleeds through these Spanish, and you see it with Rahm. I mean, he just played a fantastic final round, very consistent, didn't have to go low. It was just kind of hanging on, but his tee-ball, his golf swing, if you want to break down Jon Rahm's golf swing, is crazy. If you're an instructor and you actually look at how he takes the club back and how short he goes back for him to create as much power as he does, and it's just like any sport where you're swinging something. It doesn't matter how it gets back to the ball. It just matters that it gets back to the ball the same way. So all the other stuff that happens leading up to it is obviously it's important, but he just rips the ball, and his swing is very pressure proof, in my opinion.
All right, let me ask you this, and this is going to sound worse than I mean it to, but I said this Monday. It felt to me, and this is nothing against Jon Rahm because he played a wonderful round of golf, but the Masters is so known for guys going out and winning it, hitting these marvelous shots, the eagles on 13 and 15, the almost jarring it at 16. I mean, that's what the Masters is known for, guys winning the tournament. It almost felt to me this year, not so much that the tournament was given away, but Rahm just was kind of the one guy left. Like, is that fair to?
I think that's totally fair to say, and I think Victor Hovland was one of the guys that you were hopeful, but he was, within 3 or 4 strokes going into the final round, and like you thought there was a guy that could go on a run. It was him, but he just kind of was there. He didn't have to do anything spectacular. Obviously, Brooks making the bogeys kind of he shot 3 over, I think, on the front, and then when they made the turn, he was just scrambling all day just to try to make pars. Didn't make his first birdie until 13. It was like his first birdie in like 30 holes or something like that. But then you go down a few groups earlier with Phil Mickelson and Jordan Spieth.
That's it.
They should have just televised their twosome the entire Sunday round. I think they made 14 birdies between the two of them.
Like that's what I'm talking about someone who comes. They were so far back. I mean, they were done an hour before Rahm. But exactly. I mean, 65, 66. Jordan still can't play the 72nd hole for some reason.
Regardless.
At least he didn't hit the tree 50 yards off the tee this time, but just wonderful golf out of there. And look, let's talk about that.
Yeah. And
Phil Mickelson has been playing awful.
Oh, yeah.
He's been at the center of all this firestorm. He's 52 years old. But the guy can play Augusta.
Well, and he can play in majors. I mean, he won the PGA Championship 2 years ago at arguably one of the hardest venues for a major championship, the Ocean Course at Kiowa. Oldest guy to ever win a major. And, he's obviously been very vocal with the PGA Tour, Live Tour stuff. But to be honest, he kind of just shut up the whole week. And even at the Champions Dinner, everybody said he just kind of kept to himself. And then he went out there and just played some great golf, and he loves Augusta. The fans love Phil at Augusta, and for him to shoot that kind of round on Sunday, finish tied second, 52 years old, is just kind of unbelievable.
Is it me, or has he lost about 30 pounds?
Oh, he's lost a ton of weight. He's been doing that whole coffee thing. He drinks all that coffee, like fasting or whatever, and he says he's, in the best shape of his life, and he feels like he's hitting but he was saying that he was going to go on a tear soon, and boy, to do what he did at Augusta and finish tied second is pretty impressive, and he's still qualified for all the majors, so should be.
So how old is the oldest winner at Augusta?
The oldest winner at Augusta, would have been Jack at 46. Yep. Now, Phil's the oldest major champion winner because when he won the PGA 2 years ago, he was 50 years old, or 51.
Now,
maybe.
You also posted when this was going on that Fred Couples did something kind of...
Yeah. Oldest guy to ever make
about
the cut.
him.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, I bet the Masters for many, many, many years, and I used to do pools at the clubs I worked at, and I'd always take Freddie because Freddie's always going to make the cut at the Masters. Now, is he ever going to win? No, he just doesn't hit the ball long enough, but he just knows that golf course so well.
He's 63?
63 years old.
Where did he finish?
Made the cut. He finished pretty deep, but it didn't really matter. He even came out and said, I'm not playing against Rahm and Brooks. He said, I'm just playing against myself.
Yeah.
Made the cut. Had a great, the golf course is so long, and he still hits it a long way for being in his low 60s, which is pretty incredible. But he's played, that was the 30th year since he won the Masters in 92. Yeah. So that time, and he played before it, so he's been playing Augusta for a long time.
When you say the course played long, how many yards is it? And this as a comparison, how long is Bay Point?
Yeah, so for example, if we can stretch Bay Point out to about 7,200 yards, which is kind of short in PGA Tour world this day and age. I think Augusta was playing just over 76, which is a very long way. And if you think about it, you've got 10 is playing upper fours, 11's playing upper fours, 14 plays upper four. You've got some long holes. But that golf course is all about the greens and the complexes. You heard one of the guys say, you've got to hit it in a shoebox to get it on the green where it can stay and have a good shot at it. And experience at Augusta matters. And I think that's why guys like Phil and Freddie still play well there.
Right.
Because that matters.
Look, our champion started his tournament this year with a 4-putt on the first hole.
Yep. And who was it that... And Scotty Scheffler won the Masters with a 4-putt on the final hole.
Oh, that was ugly.
Yeah.
But you build a lead, you can do it.
You can do it. But so that just goes to show you, in golf, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So if you go out there and make a big number on the hole one when you're playing with your friends, just know you've got 17 more holes to get it going. It all adds up to one score. That's what I tell my kids the few times we go out there and play golf. I said, it doesn't matter if you're putting for a double bogey or a par or a triple. It all adds up to that score, and every stroke matters. And people get away from that in golf because they think so much about the score on the individual hole, but it all adds up to one score.
100%. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Masters again. We'll take your phone calls in the final segment here. If you want to give us a call, 215-6290. That's 215-6290. Don't forget, guys, Jay Michaels, you heard Coach talk about him. They did a wonderful thing for the I always want to say Wounded Warrior, the Warrior Retreat.
Yeah, the Warrior Beach Retreat.
Yeah, Beach Retreat yesterday. And Chris Fish is a special out there. Get out there and see those guys today. One more segment left for this week. Stay right here with us on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
Someone was saying to me, you don't really have to know sports history to be a member of the sports media. If you were listening to a political show, the host said, I don't really know much about FDR. He was president before my time. I don't know a whole lot about Kennedy. Like, was he the one who got shot? What you have done is you've told me you don't know anything about what you're talking about. So why do we treat sports so differently?
Greeny. Weekdays 2 to 4 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Friday weather forecast is calling for that storm system to move away from us today. It'll be partly to mostly sunny in the mid-70s, southwest wind 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf is 70. Mostly clear around 65 tonight. Another batch of showers and thunderstorms planned for the weekend. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Me and my I Do crew have 50 years experience, and we have more certified diamonds in stock at the best prices in town. So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, come see me, your diamond girl, and my I Do crew at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, because we don't work on commissions. We work for smiles and I Do's.
If it's Western wear for the whole family you're looking for, there's only one place to shop, That Boot Store. The selections are huge and many of your favorite name brands at affordable prices are available. Want the finest in work clothes? Famous Carhartt work clothes are available too. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. till 5:30. Next to Kia 15th Street, Panama City. Remember what Joe always said, keep Jesus in your life every day.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Go nuts.
Live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coach James Hale Show on a Friday. Brian Haddad sitting in, Jim Barant, Ryan Mulvey, Big John, all with us here today. Thank you for being with us as well. Thanks to all of our callers. One segment left. If you want to join us, 215-6290. A lot of fun talking about golf and the Masters. I wish we did it more often on this show. Maybe we'll just have to elbow coach out of the room some segments going forward. But, well, let's pivot back over a little bit to the draft coming up a couple of weeks here, it looks like. And, of course, it's silly season for the draft. You got a whole lot of misinformation out there. We heard some yesterday on the show here.
Oh, my gosh.
But you get it from coaches because they're positioning.
And GMs.
But you've also got a 24/7 media cycle that needs stories.
Right. That's true.
But let's just talk amongst ourselves here. So Carolina has the first pick in the trade they made with the Bears. Obviously, they're going quarterback. Houston has the second pick. No matter what you hear, they're going quarterback. So the first question for you two guys is, it's most likely Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, and we've heard it both ways. Which way would you go with the number one pick and why, Jim?
We talked about this before, and I agree with James Hale on this one. We coached together a long time. We kind of have similar thoughts on some things. If I'm a coach in NFL and I got a choice between two quality guys, I mean, it's not like one can play and the other one can't. They both can play. We know that. Played a great programs, had a lot of success. But one's 5'10", and the other one's 6'3". It's just me. I'm not saying it because it's C.J. Stroud. I'd say it for anybody. I'm taking a guy who's 6'3". I mean, 5'10" guys don't last long in the NFL. I mean, and they're going, in the nature of the NFL draft, that number 1 or 2 pick is going to a team that probably wasn't very good last year, probably can't protect a quarterback. So how many hits are they going to take? You know, it's like Justin Fields playing for the Bears. Yeah, it's great he ran for 1,100 yards, but
they won 3 games, yeah.
But that's not sustainable. It's just not realistic. At some point, he's going to get hurt, and he's going to get hurt bad.
I think before the national semifinal game, I would have taken Young because I hadn't seen Stroud do the things he did in that game.
Yeah, he
had the measurables.
Georgia.
He opened mine. I think I'm with you. I'd go Stroud. We actually have a caller on the line before we get to you, Ryan, because I think our caller actually has a question for Ryan. Ooh. So you're on the hot seat, Ryan. Caller, go ahead.
Hopefully it's not old golf history.
Hey.
I don't know that too well.
No, go ahead.
Hey, for everyone that doesn't know, I'm sorry, my name's Chris. I listen to y'all every day.
Appreciate it.
Ryan played hockey, and I'd really love to hear about the Rangers versus the Devils.
Man, you talk about teams I hate. I grew up in New Jersey. I played ice hockey growing up my whole life. Huge New Jersey Devils fan. They finally had a good season again. They had the biggest turnaround in NHL history from last season to this season. But yep, they got to play the Broadway series there against the Rangers, and big win. I said it earlier. Luke Hughes had his first goal last night. But yeah, I think your NHL playoffs are going to be absolutely fantastic this year. I mean, if you have never watched hockey, it's really not that complicated of a game. If you understand what's going on, it's definitely a little easier. But playoff hockey, there's nothing better than that. Obviously, the Lightning have been good the last 5-10 years, so there's been a little bit more buzz in Florida. But you grew up, you were either a Rangers fan or a Devils fan because at the time, the Islanders weren't really doing that well. But it's going to be a tough series. Luckily, we've got the first 2 games at home, so I'm excited about that. But who's going to beat Boston? That's the big question. They are just so loaded, playing good hockey. Obviously, I think they lost 12 games in regulation and 5 games in overtime, and they won again last night. I think that was their 63rd or 64th
the most points of any team in a season,
most points
right?
in NHL history. And what's crazy is the Devils broke their franchise record for most points in a season, most wins in a season, and it doesn't even matter because Boston's just on a tear. Carolina won last night. Otherwise, the Devils would have ended up being the first seed in the Metropolitan Division. So the Panthers play the Hurricanes play the Panthers, I believe. But yeah, now should be some fun matchups. Western Conference is a little closer, I think, coming out. So, but it's Boston's cup to lose. But I just hope we get past the Rangers.
Well, I was just stirking in net for the Rangers. It's like I got a question for you. Where do you think that Brodeur and Vasilevsky are? Do you think they're close at all, or do you think it's Brodeur way above Vasilevsky? It's one of those things with all the other sports we talk about. The era of hockey when Brodeur was as dominant as he was is so different. Obviously, I'm a huge Marty fan. I grew up loving Marty. I've got multiple jerseys. He's just, was kind of my hockey hero growing up. But the Devils and the NHL was such a different style back then. The Devils were bruisers. They Stevens and Danico and Lemieux, not Mario, but the other Lemieux who was just a bruiser. Little different game. This game is a lot more wide open open because just like every sport, they change it to make it more entertaining. So I think Vasilevsky in this, and it would be interesting to see how Brodeur did in this NHL. That was a really long-winded answer, too. I'm still going to go with Brodeur. Most shutouts, most wins, in NHL history. I don't think that'll ever be touched because it's one of those records that's just going to be tough to break nowadays.
No, I appreciate it. We're on the cusp of the NHL playoffs, and we're talking about the NFL draft. So,
welcome to the Coach James Hale Show.
No, I talk NHL all morning with you if I could.
This has been fun, though. I've appreciated it.
I just didn't know if you were going to be on the evening show or not. I know they give you a little more NHL time. Now I want you to tell everybody that you think the NHL players are tougher than NFL players and really get some phone calls in there.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, no, that's a topic that I wholeheartedly agree with. I talk to
if he
my
would have
kids
called in
about
this
that
morning,
all the time. You go out there and you play with broken jaws and all that stuff. And NHL players they're super classy and they're, I think, the toughest athletes out there.
I grew up a Wings fan, but I've migrated to the Bolts because, Steve Yzerman, I don't want to say created the team, but, but
he did.
I remember Yzerman getting a broken orbital socket and still out there just gutting it out, trying to get a playoff win. So that's what I love about the playoffs.
Yep, you leave everything out there, and it's such a grueling season for sure. I mean, the injuries you sustain, the wear and tear. I mean, obviously NFL is brutal. That's why I only play one game a week. But hockey, you're playing 82 games with the same kind of physicality. So I think it's definitely a one-sided argument.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. My boss is looking at me funny. So
thanks for asking about hockey, Chris. I appreciate
man.
it.
I appreciate it.
Gotta let y'all go.
All right, Chris. Thank you. It was interesting, Ryan, you mentioned the Islanders. So this is the difference in our age, which isn't huge, but it's enough. When I'm growing up, the Islanders winning 4 cups in a row.
Oh, yeah. They were
when you're
ridiculous.
growing up, they're being bought by a scam artist.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. My growing up, the Devils won 3 cups in 8 years, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Good deal. Well, I'm gonna pose the question to you. Let's get back to the Hale show, if it will. Jim and I talked about CJ Bryce. Where do you go?
I mean, obviously, I think, like you were saying, if you're just comparing two people, say they have the same ability, you're always going to take the one that has the better physical attributes. But I think NFL ready. I think for the Panthers, who aren't that far off, the fact that they have this number 1 pick is pretty crazy. They've got new coaches. A lot of people came in. They really didn't finish the season that bad last year. I think C.J. Stroud makes a much quicker impact than Bryce Young does. I think C.J. Stroud, obviously Bryce Young is an unbelievable quarterback, and he'll probably do well for the Texans, who I think he's going to go to. But I think C.J. Stroud is who the Panthers will take because that'll get them quicker. Because let's be honest, the NFC South is not very good, especially with Tampa kind of on the decline. So the Panthers can make a run at that, winning that division, and I think C.J. Stroud's a quicker path to that.
Isn't it amazing how fast that's changed? Because a couple of years ago, where Brady, Breeze, Matt Ryan were just coming off of Cam Newton, who had been an MVP.
Right. Oh, yeah. They went to a Super Bowl.
It was the quarterback division.
Yep.
And now it's just like you say, there's not anymore. Nothing.
That's just how quick. I mean, that's it's such a great parallel why college is changing so fast now, because it's so similar to the NFL. You don't have literal free agency and that kind of stuff. But, we've switched from that era of the Breeze and the Bradys and Ryans and, Rivers and all those guys, and now you're moving into this new era of quarterback.
Well, the rules also have made it why the quarterback is so important in the draft, because the rookie deals that you can get these quarterbacks on, they don't blow up your cap space.
Well, look at the Niners quarterback room right now. I think they've got $3 million in cap space between 3 quarterbacks.
People are like, well, they should trade either Purdy or Lance. Why? You got them both under great deals,
and that shows you how you can get so many other players on your roster if you can get a good quarterback for a good price. And that's why Brady would take pay cuts so many times, and that's why they were successful as long as they were.
And that's why the latest mock draft has quarterbacks going 1 through 4, possibly even 5. I mean, it's. It used to be you'd try and lock down your linemen and people like that, and then you'd go supplant the skill position. But like I say, with the rookie deals on quarterbacks, that's the way it's going to go until they change the rules again.
Oh, yeah. The NFL is very reactionary in changing rules, and then they change them back when everybody complains.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for coming in here today, getting us through, again, thoughts with Coach Hale and his family as they lay Doris to rest over there in Mississippi. But All thinking about you, Coach, and appreciate you calling in earlier. Jim, thank you for sitting in today, all your insights. Ryan, last shout out to Bay Point.
Yeah, come out and play some golf. We got brunch this Sunday from 8 to 2, live music with Mark Knaps from 11 to 2. Food's fantastic. It's great pricing. Come out and see us.
Awesome. Now, if we just do something about the weather this weekend, it'll be even better. Big John, thank you back there behind the board. Appreciate everything. Afternoon Underdogs on today. They got a great show. Make sure you listen to David. Coach Hale will be back next week. We'll see you then. We are out.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
The Atlanta Braves have been